Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Some of you know Bridget Bardot. Well, now it's time for the Cognac Show. I said Cognac.
Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist Cognac Wellerlane, and welcome back to Cognac's Corner. In another moment, we will be watching another fabulous video. But first, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and always press the notification button to let you know when I will be publishing a new video. And also, darlings, don't forget to leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about my videos and what other type of videos you'd like me to make. Let's get to the video. Pink champagne kisses. Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist Cognac Wellerlane. Keep watching. More celebrity interviews coming up right here at cognacscornermagazine.com. Pink champagne kisses. Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist Cognac Wellerlane, and we are here with Conversations with Ethan Hawke. And in just a moment, more celebrities will be attending the Hamptons International Film Festival. Keep watching. Pink champagne kisses.
Blue Moon. When people watch this movie, what is a moment in the movie that you are really proud of, or you thought it was going to be hard to get, but you got it?
It's always embarrassing to talk about moments you're proud of because it's revealing of your ego and how big it is. There is a moment where I feel like Richard Linklater exposes his unbelievable grace with storytelling, which is, it's like a car accident happens. My partner of 25 years, who I madly love with and my whole identity is written around, is leaving me, walking out the door with a young woman that I'm madly in love with. And it's obvious that he's making time with her. And they walk out the door, and I say goodbye to the both of them. And it's very unclear which one I'm talking to, because it's directed at one person, but one turns around Rogers turns around, or I think she turns around first, and then Rogers turns around, and then they both turn away, and the door closes. And you know a human being just died of heartbreak. He's actually not going to recover from that moment. And it's said with a smile, and it's said as a joke, and it's absolutely devastating. And I have been friends with him a long time, the director, and it's one of the blessings about getting older is watching your friends develop.
Sure.
That movie is exactly, I met him, he was about 29 years old, the kind of movie he dreamed of making. I remember one of the first times I saw, we were hanging out, he wouldn't stop talking about John Huston's The Dead, and how much he loved that film. And when I watch this film, I see the influence of that movie on this movie, and I have this secret pride that he's turned into the filmmaker he dreamed of being. And so, how's that for you?
That's a good answer. All right, let's get back in the time machine. It's 1943. You're about to introduce me to Lorenz Hart, but you pull me aside and say, I got to tell you something about this person. How would you describe Lorenz Hart?
I bet if I was really 1943, I wouldn't get a word in edgewise because he would come over and steal the whole situation.
True.
But how I would describe him is, there's a word for it, something of opposites. There's an expression, but it's about how opposites create whole. Like there was a line in that clip reel that I love about wisdom is holding two opposing truths in your mind at the same time. He's a great example of that. He's so many things at one time that are seeming opposites. He's a diminutive, small person, and his ego is giant. He's homosexual, and he's in love with a woman. He's bitter, and he's generous. He's so many things at one time, and that's what I found most intriguing about him. If I was just gossiping in 1943, I'd be like, that's the guy who wrote, you know, My Funny Valentine. Right. Check him out, there he is right there.
How did you go about researching him?
Well, I was really lucky. It wasn't through any doing of my own, but I had about 12 years to research him because it took Rick that long to feel that we were ready to make the movie. Robert Kaplow is the screenwriter, and it's such an unbelievable script. It's rare that, it's a handful of movies that I've worked on in my life that I feel like the script should be published. That's how good it is. And he's a professor, and he's not a young man, and he wears his wisdom very obviously. He's earned his stripes. He's a very impressive human being to be seated across. And he just knows everything about the period. He knows everything about it. So the best research I could do was go out and have coffee with him and say, why did you put that line in? I feel like we should cut that line, and you find out, oh, that's what that's all about. Oh, wait, no, we can't cut that line. Now I see. He's so remarkable that way. And about a decade ago, he gave me a biography of Lorenz Hart called The Ship Without a Sail, which I was extremely lucky because the book is actually brilliantly written. You know, sometimes you're playing somebody and there's biographies written, they're just not that well written. And this one it's great. So I learned everything I needed from that book.
What was something that you learned about him that didn't make it into the movie, didn't necessarily make it into your performance, but it helped inform your performance?
Okay, well, this will be a little boring for people that didn't see the movie, but this is for people that did. It's worth it.
Saw it.
So
you
the
saw
rest
this
of you,
room.
yeah.
A bunch of people saw it, right?
Well, and if you haven't seen it, you will see it, I hope, someday, and this will float in the back of your mind. In the movie, Rogers and Hart are breaking up, and Rogers offers him a little olive branch of write a few songs for Connecticut Yankee. We're going to do a revival of that. Give us a few new songs. At the end of the movie takes place in one night. So, but in real life, after that night, well, Hart did write those songs, and they were in the new revival of Connecticut Yankee. Seems like a nice story, except Hart got so drunk on opening night that he was in the aisles of the theater singing along with the cast, and Rogers had to call the cops and ask him to be kicked out. And it's so, when you know the story, it's so heartbreaking. Of course he would sing along to the songs. And of course Rogers would have to ask him to leave. It was opening night, it was disrupting it all. And and he died a couple days later, drinking himself to death. So that was really, I'm here to bring you up.
In that clip, we saw him complimenting Oklahoma.
After
tearing it down.
Yeah, for
tears
half
it
an
down.
hour. What a pile of garbage it is. So I do find that funny.
Why would you think that something as light as Oklahoma would be without imagination?
You really want me to answer that?
Yeah.
I'm not going to make any friends because I kind of subscribe to his opinion. I have one line I love, which is, the corn is as high as an elephant's eye. Has got to be the stupidest lyric in the American songbook. The image of an Oklahoma cornfield with a fucking elephant. I think the Oklahoma to Hart, and perhaps to Linklater, and perhaps to me, symbolizes, it embodies a transition America was making. Oklahoma is Indian territory. Not only are there no people of color at all in the movie, there's certainly no Native Americans. I mean, it's a lie. It's nostalgic for a time period that did not, does not, will not, could not exist. And America is buying into its own myth. We're winning the war, and we're starting to see ourselves as in the third person as this grander self. And we're starting to lie to ourselves about who we are. And one of the things that was remarkable about Hart is, if you take Pal Joey, for example, he was very interested in the darkness in humanity and in the light. And that's kind of the struggle. And Rogers is really kind of pushing the world towards Sound of Music. I mean, all this unbelievable work. I'm criticizing it, not really. I know all the songs by heart. So but I say all this with that. That's the symbol of the jazz age is ending. And there was some truth to what Hart was always undercutting any moment. And there's a case to be made that that's a more intelligent way of viewing the universe.
He was correct, but wasn't always right.
Well, the older you get, being right stops really being important. And so he was terribly wrong about how he treated himself. And if you treat yourself with such disrespect, it doesn't really matter what else you might be right about.
Andrew Scott, he plays your Richard Rogers. And there's an age difference between the two in real life.
And in the characters
yeah.
too.
How did you talk about that with Andrew? Did you talk about the age difference and how that might have played out with them?
Well, we talked about it a little self-referentially, which is that Linklater and I have had over a 25-year collaboration like Rogers and Hart. And there's an age difference with us too. It's not so much to be of a different generation, but it was extremely significant when we were meeting. And remember Rick talking about that, you have to understand that Rogers is trying to change the internal contract of the friendship. If a friendship is started as a mentor-pupil relationship, and the pupil, it's a little bit, not to be a nerd, but it was a little bit of the part of what was the obstacle in the Beatles breaking up too, is that McCartney was developing. And as you get older, you want to stop being the kid in the relationship. I'm a grown man now, I'm a grown woman, whatever. And I think that one of the things that Linklater was noting, he's a big Richard Rogers fan, is that Rogers was growing. And he wanted to keep growing, and he wanted to stop being the pupil.
You want to see other people too.
Yeah, and so I think we talked about it in that regard. Is that what you're...
Yeah.
Is that interesting to you?
Sure.
Sure, yeah, I guess.
It's all interesting. You have a lot of stage actors in this film. Barbie Cannavale, Andrew Scott just finished doing Vanya, you've been on stage in True West. How does being a stage actor help you in this particular production of Blue Moon?
Well, it's not necessary. I can think of Jeff Bridges and Jack Nicholson, a bunch of my favorite actors that, if they've spent any time on stage, it was very small. It's not necessary, but it's definitely ideal for any actor in any situation. It's just a lot harder. There's just no way where it's like running in Santa Fe or something where it's harder to breathe and then you come to a regular height and it's easier to run. That's what acting on stage is like. I mean, people talk about the verbiage of Blue Moon. My character is just talking nonstop. It's all this dialogue. It's like a third of Macbeth. I mean, some people say, how'd you memorize those lines? I'm like, well, it was easier than a lot of them. I mean, Hurly Burly is 3 times as long, and I was on stage talking just as much, if not more. And so you learn, it's a muscle, it's a shape, like athletics, it's a discipline. It's not difficult, it just takes time. And so the stagecraft of it is very helpful on a Richard Linklater film, because his movies, unlike most film directors, he hasn't thrown the words out. A lot of film directors don't really care about the words. I've read reviews and things that cite the prosthetics or a bald cap or all those different things, none of which is there, and I found, and Bobby's one of my oldest friends, it really gave him the creeps with that. It somehow changed my face dramatically, that in a way that I didn't understand or anticipate. I had worked with this wonderful hair and makeup artist that I've known since I played John Brown in The Good Lord Bird. We met on that, and he's remarkable. And if you can make your skin look bad and hollow yourself out, and you can do things pretty easily. But I found the eyes were the biggest impact on, and I noticed it right away with my castmates. They were like, everybody treated me differently. The height, obviously, the hair, obviously, the body language, the voice. There was a lot of things that went into creating this character. But I found Oz the most dramatic.
How did you feel about them when you looked in the mirror?
My wife didn't like it. And I didn't like that. But there's a game that actors play where the physical isn't important, but it tricks you into believing yourself. You hear people talk about method acting, and lots of people mean different things by it, but one of the tricks of the idea of it is, what is the requirement to unlock your imagination? And if you fundamentally don't believe you're a construction worker, then you should go work construction. And you will, Denzel and I did a ton of riding around with cops before training day, and it really helps you believe yourself. It's that you're not pretending to arrest somebody. You've walked through the process, you've been shown how to do it, so you start to believe that, no, this is exactly what would happen, and I believe myself. The director can screw it up, and they often do, but at least you can believe yourself. And that, the eyes began to be a process of which I would just believe I was a different person.
A minute. What is it like to sustain a character over the course of one evening?
Easy. I mean, it's actually harder. One of the things that's really cumbersome about film acting is often you're jumping around in time, and whenever you see a movie and you think, oh, that scene was so bad, why didn't anybody see it? It's usually because they changed the order of the scenes, and somebody in editors like having a lot of fun. It's not like people on set and they were that stupid. It's that somebody's trying to pace up the movie, and so they're intercutting something that wasn't meant to be intercutting, because Linklater loves to rehearse, we got to do this. We did this whole movie for the crew in one sitting. It wasn't so I could feel the music of when you do a play, you start to learn. The audience doesn't like this section. Let's go fast. You just certain things you intuit, or I've got them right where I want them. We can take our time now. It's a dance with the audience that you have, and you can hear it, the music of an evening. And with film, you kind of cede that aspect of your performance to the editor. And somebody's going to sit and a lot of my friends who are comedians will talk about how few editors understand comedy, that they'll do something that's outrageously funny on the day, and the crew will applaud and they'll be, crying with laughter. And when they see it at screening, it's not funny because it's blown by the editor. And so I found the time continuousness of this really helpful. It was like a hypnosis, a spell you could get into and you didn't ever have to break it.
After the New York Film Festival, you went to Sardi's for your party. What was it like to be there after making the film?
It's great. I mean, Bobby and I went to Sardi's before. We made the movie in Ireland, and right before we left, Bobby, who plays the bartender in the movie, we went to Sardi's, and it was so cool. We sat and had a drink, and Patti LuPone was there, and it felt like it was, wow, this is a real Broadway hangout. Our idea was to try to bring the feeling of the bar to Ireland. And so there was something about the after party being there that felt like crossing the finish line. Yeah. It felt like all right, we finished.
What is Bobby's role in the film? He plays the bartender. But what is the bartender there for? What does he do for Lorenz?
It's a good question. It's complicated. I think that he is a shrink. He's a fan. He's communicating the world of New York. Because we never get out of the bar, Bobby is New York City. He's representing the New York of that era. The way he treats me, it's obvious I'm a special person. The way he knows what drink I have, it's obvious we have a relationship. He knows that I'm hurt by the review. He has things that as Bobby would tell you, that because Bobby's been a bartender, he's like, if you got the job at Sardi's in 1943, you were good at your job. And that was a much sought after, and you were a man of the theater. You knew what was important and what was opening and what wasn't. That's part of your job.
You've been asked this a million times, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What do you like about working with Rick Linklater? What do you like about working with this man?
It's like, I think a lot of good collaborations involve not playing the same instrument. And that you like each other enough to want to spend time together. But I'm an enthusiast. I'll run at something. Rick will stare at it for 4 weeks before he walks there. That's our personality type. And we help each other because of that. He's never in a hurry in his life. And he's very discerning mind. And like I said, he gave me the script 12 years ago. I would have made it that summer. And I would have made it badly.
Why would you have made it badly?
I would have misjudged the level of difficulty. That there's a very small, if you're trying to make a movie that functions in real time in one night, that doesn't leave a bar, that there's a level of grace and intelligence and discipline that needs to be required to even imagine the audience would have the patience to watch that. I could have run at the world like everybody's my friend, and Rick runs at the world like ain't nobody rooting for you, okay? So stop thinking that way. And so we're a good push-pull.
As you have a good relationship, a good working relationship with this man, how did you use that personal information that you have? How did you put that upon Hart and Rogers? You have such a good working relationship with this person.
Rick would say, people think it's like the world is so difficult, and it is, and society is so difficult, and it is. And there's a lot of mechanisms in place in our culture and in society that make life more difficult than we would like it to be, obviously. But when I first met Rick, I was about 24, and I was hanging out with a lot of people that found a certain self-destructive element sexy and romantic and compelling to the artist's life. And Rick has no interest in it. He really loves life and finds so much beauty in people and things. And I remember him saying to me that if you really look at the history of the arts and you see whose potential was met and whose potential was thwarted, the biggest enemy in most cases is within. That it's not society, it's not that the business is fake and this is corrupt and this is phony and this is shit. You know, all that's true, but if you really know yourself and you really can love and accept yourself and start to grow from there, you can withstand all that. You know, and so what Rick would say happened to Rogers and Hart is not much deeper than alcoholism. You know, in that, now, alcoholism is an easy word to say because I think of alcohol as the symptom. You know, the alcohol is somebody self-medicating, right? And so what is the wound? Where is the cut that needs to be healed? And that is much deeper than alcoholism. But when you mask it with drug addiction, you know, then it actually gets harder to find. You know, because there's all this other bad behavior that's happening.
Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist, Cognac Wellerlane. Keep watching. More celebrity interviews coming up right here at cognacscornermagazine.com. Pink champagne kisses.
Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Some of you know Bridget Bardot. Well, now it's time for the Cognac Show. I said Cognac, ooh, ooh. I said Cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm a bubbly blonde, fabulously dressed to impress. One of a kind girl. I was brought into this world wrapped up in pearls. I love to mingle, though my husband reminds me I'm not single. I meet and greet both the famous and the elite. I ride in limousines, drinking the finest champagne, wearing furs, dazzling diamond jewelry. A girl can't complain. I live the upscale life, dining in the finest restaurants, eating the best caviar for free. And no matter how much I enjoy cognac, ooh, ooh. I said cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh.
It's been a Crybaby Productions, darlings.